Hello friends, my name is Tandava and I'm so glad to have you here. You're going to love playing the harmonium. This is a really easy way to get started making music even if you've never played an instrument before. And it's also a very profound way to deepen your spiritual life through devotional chanting. And you'll find out more and more about that as we go through this course. This course has just about everything you need. It has videos, it has handouts. The one thing that you have to provide for yourself, I'm afraid, is the harmonium. I can't do that part for you. In a pinch, you can use a piano, you can use an electric keyboard, you can even use an app on your phone. Because anything with a piano keyboard is going to have the same arrangement of notes, so you can at least practice that aspect of it. It won't be quite the same as a harmonium, but it's something until you can get or borrow a harmonium yourself. If you do use an electric keyboard or something like that, see if there's an organ setting, something like that that has a sustained tone rather than a piano where you plink a note and it dies away right away. That will at least help you get a little bit more like a harmonium sound. But best of all is an actual harmonium, but we'll take what we can get. So let me start by giving a little bit of background on where I'm coming from and the style of chanting that I'm going to be teaching. You will, of course, be learning basic harmonium technique that you can apply to anything that you want to play or sing. But this is where I'm coming from, this particular style. Paramahansa Yogananda was the author of the Autobiography of a Yogi, which was published in 1946 and has been one of the most influential spiritual books of all time and ever since then. He first came to America in 1920. He was the first of the Indian gurus to come to America and make his home here. And he lived here until he passed away in 1952. And his mission was not to bring Indian religion to the West. His mission was to show the underlying truth behind all religions. He taught from Hinduism, he taught from Christianity, he taught from other traditions and scriptures, but he showed where they all connected in Sanatana Dharma, which is the eternal truth underlying all religions. Now in India, there is a very strong tradition of chanting, but if he had brought it over to America as it was, Americans in the 1920s wouldn't really have gone for it. There's a lot of recitations of the names of God and things like that that Americans just wouldn't have been able to relate to. Nowadays, more people around the world enjoy that sort of thing, but it wouldn't have flown in 1920. But the devotional aspect of chanting is something that he really wanted to bring with him because it's such a useful spiritual tool. So he started writing new chants, and some things he translated, yes, and adapted, but he also wrote a lot of brand new music. And these chants would use short, easily memorized, repetitive phrases that evoked a spiritual quality. They're designed to be easy for anybody to learn, anybody to sing along with. The melodies are pleasing but simple enough that untrained singers can sing them. And the words, being in English now that he was writing in America, were understandable by the people that he was sharing them with. And unlike typical songs or hymns, you don't have a lot of verses to remember and choruses and harmony parts. It was much simpler so that you could sing this music and just let yourself be absorbed in the spiritual qualities that it evokes. So that was really the point of this style of chanting and his adaptation from his tradition in India when he came to America. And of course, this is suitable for anybody from any country, from any religion even. These are non-sectarian chants. They're spiritual rather than religious. And as you get more familiar with the music, you'll see what I mean by that. One more person to tell you about is Swami Kriyananda. And he was an American who grew up in Europe and America, and he came to Yogananda as a young man in 1948 and lived with Yogananda for the last few years of Yogananda's life. But since that time, he carried on his guru's mission founding spiritual communities based on Yogananda's teachings around the world, he also wrote many, many books and many, many pieces of music, including chants in Yogananda's style. So a lot of the repertoire I use and teach and sing myself come from Swami Kriyananda as well as from Paramhansa Yogananda. Swami Kriyananda passed away in 2013, but his Ananda spiritual communities, his books, his music, his legacy are still going strong, carrying on the mission of his guru, Paramhansa Yogananda. So that brings us down to me. And I am a brahmachari, or a monk. I live in the Ananda spiritual community in Palo Alto, California. I've been a musician all my life, playing various instruments. I started chanting and playing harmonium in about 2009. I've taught it several times in groups or to individuals. I also teach meditation here and various other classes. I like to teach, I like music, so here we are in this class. Most of the chants I teach will be in English. There will be a few that we do in other languages, and maybe I'll manage to include some translations in some of the handouts for even more languages. We'll see what we manage. We might end up doing a few traditional Indian chants as well as the chants by Yogananda and Kriyananda, and we'll just see how that goes. But for now, let's move on to the first lesson.